Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Here we are. We have made it all the way to Akaal Moorat, the next chunk of the Mool Montar. Right? We have Ikwonkar, Satanam, Karata Purik, Nirabo, Niraver, Akaal Moorat. What does Akaal Moorat mean? It means undying, eternal, Akaal Moorat, the shape of, or the image of, or the form of. Right? Let's see how this ties back into the rest of Mool Montar so far. Ikwonkar, from the singularity, existed, sprung, and interacted with itself. Ikwonkar. Satanam, its stamp is on all things. All things bear the name of truth. The truth being anything that came from the one. Karata Purik, there is an active force with a personality, an aspect of personality to it that we can engage with and relate to and commune with. Nirabol, a feature of this force is that it is fearless. It is not afraid of itself. There is nothing for it to be afraid of, no other. Nirver, on the flip side of that coin, there is nothing for it to stand against, no animosity for it to have to bear against anything, because all things are included in the oneness, in the singularity. All things spring from the singularity, so no hate, no fear. And it is Akaal Moorat, the shape of the eternal, the undying. Now, in order to understand the undying, let's talk about what death is, right? Death, decay, entropy are essentially forms of change. Really? That's all it is. And what it is stating is that this force is unchanging. It stays the same. It was the same in the beginning, and it will remain the same forever. It is unchanging. Everything that we interact with on the three-dimensional plane is changing. But the part of us that is ultimate, that's the part of us that is one with the divine, is unchanging. It is the Akaal part of us, the part of us that never dies, never ceases. Now this is a beautiful kind of like thing to carry around with us all day. As the universe changes, there's a part of us that is eternal and will remain eternal forever. What part of us that is, that's up to our own meditation and contemplation to determine. Aspects of our personality change within one lifespan, within a couple of weeks sometimes. But there is the observing part of us, the part that has its eye open to the world, that is eternal, that sprang from the one. Now, as it started to rain out here, that brings to my mind the changes that we have to contend with every day, all day. Right? What helps us to deal with those changes more succinctly is the fact that we ourselves are eternal. That's why Sikhs in the past would often call themselves Akalis, the eternal ones. Now, it was a bit of a mind game to say like, hey, you know what, you can't kill us. You can't kill the real us, because those times were violent, right? But it is also a spiritual truth. The real essence of who we are is immortal and undying. We cannot change that aspect of us that is divine. So if it is changeable, it is not the purest version of ourselves. Now, the purest version of ourselves incorporates everything we've learned thus far from the Mool Montar. It incorporates the fact that we are in singularity with all things. It incorporates that the motion never ceases, the movement never ends, the karata puruk. It incorporates that life is without fear. You can learn to be comfortable with something, you can learn to be afraid of something, but without fear is the divine virtue. Without hatred is a divine virtue. Hatred is a learned trait. Never forget that. You learn hatred because it's either taught to you or because it seems prudent given your survival circumstance. Beyond that, hatred is a false and fickle thing. It's a fantasy to think that you can hold on to a hatred forever, right? But the state of non-hatred, non-animosity is what is eternal and sacred. And then you move on, that all things are all things unchanging are the shape of the divine. Changing things is just the karata part of it, right? The change. Change is the eternal, right? Things change from one form to another to another. But underneath that is the one that's doing the changes, right? It's like when a being moves its body in one direction or the other, the body didn't really change, it just moved. That is how the changes of this world are. That's why the veil of Maya, the illusion of separateness from all things, is so convincing to our minds, because we only know how to interact with things that do change, because our whole plane of existence is one of constant movement and change. But the movement is what's eternal. The fact that things do change, the fact that things do move, that is the eternal aspect. At least I'm finding in my own understanding. Right? Well, when things move, they don't move out of hatred. They don't move out of fear. They do so with intent or because they're compelled to do so. And it doesn't change what it is just because it moves. The universe flowing and moving, your body flowing and moving, does not make you finite. Nothing ends. Everything is just a conglomeration of energy that is borrowed, used for a specific reason or purpose, then released back into the system. That's what our whole lives are. Let's appreciate that the changes are kind of what makes our lives exciting and wonderful sometimes, or tragic and terrible other times. But our true strength comes from the knowledge that we are eternal beings. What we are may not be what we think we are, because what we really are is that part of us that never dies. I have never died, so I can't tell you what will be left and what will be shed. But what I can tell you is that many, many things are shed from the individual upon death. Imagine how much of your identity is wrapped up in your physical body. What happens when that goes? And you're just left with your divine spark left. Just a little jolt of light. A little spark. What is that? Have you spent your life learning to identify with that jolt and developing your understanding of yourself in that light? Or are you wrapped up in the changing flow of the universe, right? The common thing is waves in the ocean, right? The wave comes up, it crashes back into the ocean. That's like the cliche that a lot of people use to try and describe this, and it's apropos. Gotta hand it to them. Perfect for describing it. The ocean is one. But if your life is but a crest on a wave, or as I just experienced a little rain cloud pass overhead, your life is but an instant of rain or a droplet of rain as it comes down from the cloud. and enters the earth to become one with the water cycle once again. That's how we are. That is what is eternal. We are not the lives we've been given. We are not our cultural backgrounds. We are not all of these things. These things are gifted to us to experience and to delight in and to learn to navigate. But what we are is the eternal spark that is experiencing. Let the experience of life not end with this physical life. Let your mind come to terms with the fact that your experience of life is eternal. Right? Guru Nanak said there are millions of heavens and millions of hells, and then reincarnation is also a certain Gurbani, and all that jumbles up into my mind to tell me that anything and anything could happen. Anything and everything is possible, that I can imagine anyway. And just to let go and try to do the best with this moment. Because that's another aspect of thinking of the eternal. Let this moment mean everything. Don't live for a fabled heaven or in fear of a dreaded hell. Live for this moment. Make this moment your eternal. Right? Akaal, Moorat, the shape of the eternal. Look around you. There is the divine in the universe all around you. Live for that. Be a Kali. Be an eternal one. Or of the eternal ones. As the six in history books were called by the British Empire. The Akalis. Right? That's a cool term. I think we should really normalize reviving that. I'm about it. Because it is a direct call to the Mool Mantra. Which is the core principles of our philosophy, of the universe's functions, and of our souls. All in one thing. Which brings it back to the ik. So, let me wrap up. Because I'm getting wet in this rain. Ik Onkar. From the singularity, Wong, expansion, Kar, interaction. Satanam, everything that is true came from the singularity, which is everything that that has ever been. Karata Podik, there is one that does everything, a singular force with a personal aspect that we can commune with. Nirbol, this personal aspect that we can commune with, that is indeed part of ourselves, is without fear. It exists in no fear of any other thing. Nirver has no animosity or hatred towards any other thing. It has not hated itself. Akaal, Moorat, that is a shape of eternal. How do we transcend this physical life? How do we hit the kingdom of God, kingdom of heaven, as certain Christian theologies would go for it? We identify with our eternal selves, which are defined very neatly for us within the Mool Mantar. The shape of the eternal form, is everything that we've discussed thus far in the Mool Mantra. Don't forget it. If we can identify and meditate and internalize those aspects, we begin to identify and become more of our eternal selves, rather than stuck in a moment that passes away or changes. Right? Akaal, Moorat, the form of the eternal. That's what you are. And don't forget it, but first learn how to define it through meditating on the Mool Mantar. I'd like to thank you guys for sticking with me through this whole series. It has been wonderful, and I've taught myself, or I should say, Vaheguru's taught me through these exercises of these silly videos so much. So much just kind of clicked together, because you learn the most by trying to teach it yourself. And it's been a very wonderful experience for me. As I just have come closer to my Akaal, Moorat, part of my nature, more and more, as I've attempted to teach and expel what knowledge I have acquired in my own mind. I encourage everyone to meditate for themselves, find their eternal spark, be that spark, realize that every other aspect of your life is just a changing aspect. Appreciate it, enjoy it, but realize that that is not eternal. What is eternal is the spark that observes, the spark that has no hatred, no fear, the spark that is in constant motion and energetic potential, the one that bears the stamp of oneness with all, the one that came from the all. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Thank you all.